What's up, everybody? I wanted to come back on here real quick and just delay a message real quick. I know that Sunday is Father's Day, and hopefully, everybody from all good men, black, white, Mexican, Chinese, everybody have a good Father's Day, and just to really appreciate the man who was in your lives and stuff. So, I wanted to talk about my life. I wanted to talk about my fathers that I had in my life. I was fortunate to have a great man in my life by the name of Walter Nolan, who raised me from the time when I was a baby and from the last time I saw him when I was 24 years old. He was such a good man. Even though he wasn't my biological father, he treated me like a son. He been gone for about 5 years, and I miss him every day. And I just had to really like cry it out yesterday because I really experienced a lot of turmoil just with reconnected with my dad 7 years ago, and he was a toxic person. It is not easy to love somebody who abandoned you, who never called, who never just took the time out to see if you was okay. It's easy to blame a woman for not allowing you to see your kids, but I know men who went and got lawyers and made sure that they was able to get custody of their kids. But it's just kind of like he didn't even try. He didn't even take the initiative to even try to see if I was okay, to try to see if I needed anything. I don't even remember getting a birthday card. Never came to my games, didn't come to my prom, didn't come to see me graduate, didn't teach me how to drive, none of that. I learned all that from all my fathers. And I have many fathers. It really doesn't matter if they're biological or not. It's just the fact that took time out their lives to make sure that you would succeed, that you will become a good person, you will help people, you will evolve, you will grow, you will be strong. And I never use that as an excuse not to become the man that I am today. And I just think when people who have particular shortcomings, they will like to use that excuse. I didn't have a father in my life. I didn't have a man to teach me how to be a man. I had to raise myself. The streets raised me. The streets raised me too. But it still didn't make me want to become a bad person. It still didn't make me want to become a street nigga. It make me want to rob people, shoot people, abuse drugs, any of that. If anything, I wanted to just showcase what a good person is just by the acts and the choices that I made in my life. And yes, I made some bad choices, but at the end of the day, I learned from my mistakes. And I just think that we put particular people on the pedestal. And I never really wanted to put my dad on the pedestal because I realized that he had to earn that. And I'm not speaking from a bitter place. It's all coming from my heart. It's the truth. It's my truth. You know what I'm saying? And I never hated him because how do you hate somebody that you don't even know? My stepfather did things for me that my father would have never done. My father was a drug addict. My father was abusive, toxic, narcissistic, and I just try to love him. And I still love him. I love him more than he ever loved me because I'm his son. I'm his bloodline. I'm the third generation. So obviously, I have no choice but to love my dad. Even though my dad don't know what love is, I do. And I have to provide that. And just knowing what it's like to have somebody neglect you and abandon you, I made sure when I became an uncle that I wasn't going to abandon my nieces or my nephew or my future grandkids or kids, whatever. I'm just sorry, y'all. I'm freestyling this. Forgive me. I ain't have none of this wrote down, but this all coming from here. But it just when you're a kid that grew up fatherless, a lot of times you just sit back and think how things would have had been different. What could have been avoided if I would have had my daddy? Maybe I would have not been homeless. I would have not dropped out of school. I would have not went hungry. I would have not been abused emotionally, physically, sexually, and just treated like I wasn't shit. And I'm 34 years old, so I went through a lot in my 20s, just to find myself. I didn't have that confidence. I didn't have that identity. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't know who I was, what I could bring to the world, and what can I just offer. But now I realize I never needed my father. He always needed me. And it took a lot, to have somebody who left you, didn't even care that you was hungry, that you was broke, that you needed somewhere to stay, you know what I'm saying? But I forgive him. And this ain't no slander. This is real. This is my life. And it's just a lot of people just like to, use that cop out. You don't know what he been through and this and that. I had nothing to do with what he been through. I didn't even existed. You know what I'm saying? Like what about us? You know what I'm saying? What about the people that didn't ask to be here? And I understand, what I'm saying? Traumas and generational curses. I understand all that, but at the end of the day, we all have a choice, either to repeat the cycle or break the cycle. And I respect my mom. I love my mom. You know what I'm saying? Because she could have aborted me. She could have adopted me. She could have even threw me in the trash can, but she didn't. You know what I'm saying? I knew where my mama was at. My mama wasn't out here chasing after no niggas. She wasn't at no clubs. She was at work or school, taking care of us. No matter what my mom did or whatever, it was always breakfast at the dinner table. It was always clothes for us to wear, and it was always dinner at the table. And it just was crazy. Like no kid or anybody should look at their father as a stranger. And I have seen so many things that I should have never saw, heard so many things that I shouldn't have heard. And there was a time that I felt like I was a failure because he didn't approve of my lifestyle or the way I grew up or the way I turned out or the accolades and the contributions that I didn't receive in his absence. And I just told him, like, look, it was your job to teach me certain things. I never went fishing. I have never went camping. I had to learn how to tie a tie. I had to learn how to do a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? I had to learn about credit. I had to learn how to drive from somebody else because he wasn't around. But hey, I always just try to just have the understanding that if you keep anger and you keep hate inside you, you will become the person that you hate. I'm grateful for him giving me life because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. Blase, blase, blase. I would have go be here regardless. Not as the same person, but I would have been here. I would have came in a different generation or something. I would have been here because God decided for me to be here. But other than that, um, I'm just grateful for the fact that I didn't turn out the way I was supposed to turn out statistically. You know what I'm saying? Like black men in my age bracket is either dead or in jail or doing life with multiple kids running around here. You know what I'm saying? I'm very educated. I'm very smart. I'm hardworking. I'm disciplined. I have a good heart. I'm a businessman, talented, strong, ambitious. So I turned out pretty great. And to the real fathers that's doing their thing, don't get no credit, don't get no recognition, don't feel appreciated, I respect y'all because that's not easy. And it was a time that I was scared to have kids. I was scared because I was going to end up like him. But now I'm at this point in my life where that's something that he would never display or demonstrate or show me is how to be a father because you have to be one in order to give advice. You know what I'm saying? It just, your father is supposed to be the most important example, walking example of just how you supposed to be, how would you want to be and stuff. I didn't know my dad for so long. I met my dad when I was 8 and he disappeared when I was 16, didn't come back till I was 25 years old. But my stepfather just was always there. And that's why I tell people there's a difference between being a father and being a daddy. And a lot of people um, just abuse the daddy part. So many stepdaddies, stepdaddy season, and all this other shit. People play with that because once you get attached to somebody, it's not easy to let them go. And when you have to let them go, when you have to watch them pull off in a driveway and never see them again, it's tough. It's hard. That's what happened to me. And, I just do my show and do my purpose because, I gotta be here for them. I gotta be here to make sure that their stories and their advice and that their experiences rubbed off on me, but in a positive way. And I'm using just this platform and just everything else to, bring light into things that we are afraid to discuss. And I just want everybody to understand that, you know, it's not easy um, being a man when you never had no one to show you how to be a man. It's not easy. But I'm grateful for my life and I'm grateful for what I had to experience. And you should be too. Peace.